and welcome to Wednesday Live with Evie, number 11. And today we are talking about the difference between urgent and important in your business. And in case you don't know, my name is Evie Burke, and I work with entrepreneurs, specifically women, and I help them be even more productive in their days so that at the end of the day, they can focus on being present with the people that they love, and they don't have to worry about what didn't get done today and the things that need to get done tomorrow. They have all of it under control, and they know what's happening. All right. And so, like I said, today we are talking about the difference between urgent and important in your business. So in the blog post, in my article on my website this week, I shared a story about a woman I was talking with who had some goals she wanted to meet and was feeling, pretty overwhelmed and needed to be making more money that month. And as we were talking and going through, the things that she wanted to do and what she had going on, she mentioned, oh, and I really need to invoice that client. I really should have done that maybe 2 weeks ago. And it's something that isn't uncommon. A lot of times if somebody is in a business where it requires billing after the fact, sometimes that takes a lower priority because the urgent work is sometimes considered getting more clients, doing the work for existing clients, meeting deadlines. And then we're so busy doing that things like sending invoices aren't as important. So those things are, well, they're important, but they're not urgent is what I want to say. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that today. So for those of you who are watching right now, whether you are live or you are watching the recording, I would love it if you would say hello. I'm using a new, I'm coming to you live in a different way today. So I'm playing with this and seeing how it goes and if I like it better. So let me know what you think. And I would love to know your motivation for coming. What about today's topic interests you, or what are you having some frustrations with? Share those in the comments, and I'd be happy to answer your questions. And something else to think about is, what do you find yourself spending your time on, whether it's the urgent or the important, and how do you decide what to spend your time on? So one of the things I wanted to talk about, so we talked about, urgent versus important. So the urgent are things like deadlines, the telephone rings, you answer it, those are the things that have to happen now, right? And then there's also the important, which are the things that we want and we need to do in our business to continue having business. And those are things like meetings, sending invoices. Sometimes it's email. Email can be important, but it's not urgent. Sometimes that's Facebook too. And it reminded me of the decision matrix that I've seen in various Covey type things. So this one, I know Franklin Covey uses it in the planners. This is one I'm going to share from Stephen R. Covey, and from, what's this one? 7 Habits of a Highly Effective People. And I'm not sure if I saw it here or something else, but it's based on the Eisenhower decision matrix. And I didn't have a better image to show, but if you look at it here, so this is from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And you have not important, and you have important, and you have urgent, there we go, and non-urgent. And so the urgent things There we go. The urgent things and the important things are deadline-driven projects, they're pressing problems, they're, crises. And then there's the important but non-urgent, and those are prevention activities, PC activities, updating your virus software, relationship building, planning, recreation, right? Those things aren't always considered urgent, but they're very important. And then you have the urgent, but they're not important. And those are interruptions, phone calls, mail, meetings. I would throw a lot of social media in there, but that's going to depend on your business and who your ideal clients are and how you are marketing to them. And then the not urgent and not important are the trivia, busy work, junk mail, phone calls that annoy you that are just telemarketers, time wasters, things like that. So ideally, you want to be spending your time in the important things, right? Whether it's urgent or not urgent. And sometimes when you put things off long enough, the non-urgent things become urgent. And those are things like planning. Those might be things like relationship building, because that's super important to most businesses, right? So you wanna look at where are the things that you're doing falling in that, and how are you spending your time? So let's go back to the idea of client billing or invoicing. So it's generally not urgent but important. And it changes to urgent when you look at your bank account and realize you have some bills coming, and then you're like, oh, I need to do that like 2 days ago, right? And so you want to set up your business in a way where Chris says non-urgent becomes urgent. She has that, yes. You want to set up your business in a way where you're making some time for those things, especially things that happen pretty regularly in your business. You want to be able to handle those. As a coach, my billing happens a little bit differently because I get paid before the work happens. So, that isn't something that tends to happen for me, but I know it happens for a lot of people. So one of the other things I want to share with you is I have a freebie on my website. So if you go to oneinsightcloser.com, and I'm just grabbing the link. If you haven't already been there, I have a freebie. Oops. Called How to Make Decisions When Everything is Important. And what that walks you through is a way to look at the important versus the urgent in your business. And let's see if it'll add that comment. And really what it looks through is doing a brain dump, getting everything out of your head, and then looking for the things that are urgent and important. And in my freebie, in that workbook, the way that it decides important is things that are going to bring you in money or are on the path to bring you money. So things like networking, that's important because that will eventually bring in clients. Some of the marketing things you do, those are going to bring you clients, right? So those are important. And when you map all those things out, it'll give you your 4 quadrants because of where the check boxes are. And you can easily see what are important and urgent that need to get done right now, and then you can decide where to move from there. And one of the things I know about these quadrants is a lot of times the hardest thing to do is to look at the things that are urgent and not important and go, it's going to have to wait. So that might be, I'm trying to to look at the quadrants here and think of something off the top of my head. That might be something on your to-do list. Like you had decided you were going to do XYZ and it was going to be done by the end of the week. However, there's other things that are coming and you really want to get this done, but you might need to decide to set it aside for a while so that you can get some of your other important and urgent things done. Or you might decide that the important things are more important to you right now to get done than the urgent. I don't know why it's not commenting. So I was trying to add my URL there. Oh, did it add it? So we'll see if it popped up. I don't know why it didn't pop up earlier. But you can head over there and you can get that freebie that walks you through that and gives you all of the steps. Now, one of the other important things between urgent and important is boundaries. So I know, and I'm going to butcher the saying, but I remember when I was in corporate, there's a couple of people who had a little sign up in their office that said something to the effect of, how did it go? Your crisis is not my problem. All right. It was something along those lines. Somebody can remember what it is and type it into the comments. But something along the lines of, your crisis is not my problem. And when we're in our own business, it's really hard sometimes to draw that line and say, I'm going to deal with that later. I'm going to handle that later. To look at an email from a client who you think is freaking out and say, you know what, my boundaries are after this time at night or the weekends or when I'm out with my friends or my family, I don't respond to those. Yes, there we go. Mary says, lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part. Yes. So, know what your boundaries are. And I say this because I'm working with somebody on another project, internal back-end things on my business. And I had a question for this person. And I was working on it on Saturday morning. And so I sent off, Mary says the admin gets it. So I sent off an email to her and I had the 3 questions listed. And honestly, I didn't expect to get an answer until maybe later in the weekend or Monday morning. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I haven't gotten an answer on those other ones. But anyway, and this person responded like within 10 minutes, but they only answered one of the 3 questions. And it was with a question that they responded. And so I answered, and a couple minutes later, they responded back. And I was like, okay, fine, that'll wait until later because they needed to look at something. And I said, well, what about my other 2 questions? Because now I'm thinking, okay, she's in the office, right? So I'm expecting to hear something back on my other 2 questions. And about 10 minutes later, and I was kind of like, what's going on? Because she was really responsive and now nothing. About 10 minutes later, I got a response back that said, I'm out with my family right now. Can I get back to you maybe later this evening? And I said, well, I don't need a response right this minute. It can wait until Monday. And then I didn't hear anything back. And I'm sure on the other person's end, she's used to getting emails on the weekend from people who are expecting answers now. The things that they're working on are super important and they want her available 24/7. And so she probably feels a bit of responsibility for her clients, which, responsibility for your clients is great. But responsibility, let me rephrase that. You are responsible to your clients. You are not responsible for your clients. Okay? There's a difference there. And, maybe we'll talk about that in a little bit. But so she feels responsible to her clients and wants to get back to them really quick with things that she can answer. However, she inadvertently set the expectation that she was available to answer my questions. And then I got frustrated because I wasn't getting all of the questions answered. Like, she only addressed one of them. And that could have been handled really easily one of two ways. By knowing that my questions were important, but they weren't urgent. And that is how she takes them. That's not saying how I take them. Because I can think that my questions are urgent and important, and she, as the expert in this area, can look at it and say, that's an important question to answer. However, it does not need to be answered right this minute. It is not urgent, and it will wait. And she can set that expectation, right? So that could have been handled by either emailing me back and saying, these are important questions. I will answer them on Monday or Tuesday, whenever she knows that she'll be able to get to them. Or she could have just left them and not said anything. And then on Monday sent me a note that said, hey, I see you had a couple of questions. I'll have some time to get to these Tuesday afternoon or whatever it is. So that she's setting expectations and she's setting boundaries with me, her client, letting me know what's going on, keeping me in the loop, but also not letting me dictate how she runs her business. Does that make sense? So one of the things I said is we are responsible to our clients. However, we are not responsible for our clients. And the difference there is we have responsibilities, that things that we say that we're going to do, deliverables, meetings, whatever those things are for your business. Those are things that we are responsible for, those items, to get to the client. So we're responsible to the client to do the things that we say we're going to do, right? However, we are not responsible for our clients or our customers, or whatever word you use there. So we're not responsible for how they react to certain situations. We're not responsible for their success. So I know this can be a huge one for entrepreneurs, where, not entrepreneurs, but for coaches, specifically business coaches, where we feel responsible for our clients' success. And we are not responsible for our clients' success because we cannot do the work for them, right? So Mary is a social media expert, right? She is responsible to her clients, making sure that the things that they expect from her happen, but she's not responsible for their social media success. If they don't know their message, if they don't know clear branding, if they're not consistent, she cannot be responsible for their results, right? However, she can be responsible to them by making sure when they do get her things that she's doing what she said she's going to do, right? Which she does because she's Mary and she's fabulous. So, going back to urgent versus important, and even going back farther with the question that I posed, or that I noticed through conversations with some of the people who are joining the Facebook group Productivity for Women Entrepreneurs, is people are feeling like I'm doing a lot of things, but I don't feel I'm making progress. And that's where you want to look at where are the things that you're doing falling in that decision matrix, in the urgent versus important. Are they urgent and important? Are they just urgent? Because I'm guessing a lot of times the urgent, whether important or not important, are getting done. And then the things that are important aren't getting done. So I said I would share a little bit about, what you might want to do in those situations. And a lot of it's going to be carving out time. Okay. And I know that if you're not scheduling out your weeks at all, this can be super difficult to do. And even if you are, sometimes things pop up, right? So it might mean you set aside an hour to do those things that are important, but you make sure that everyone knows that you're not answering the phone at that time. So if you're working with other people, you're not answering the phone. Your kids know that, mommy's working. Your husband knows not to bother you. And that's the time that you get that done. Okay, so for me, one of the things that is super, super important in my business, however, it's not urgent, are the Facebook Lives, so things like this, and the emails that I send every week. So the article I send that has the what the topic is going to be for the week, and my social media for the week. Those things are very important. However, they're generally not urgent, right? And I have Monday set aside for those things. I very rarely schedule anything for Monday. I very rarely schedule any meetings. I very rarely schedule or go networking on Mondays, because those are the days when I sit down and I write and I plan out my, social media for the week. Okay. Sunday afternoons for me are when I sit down and I plan out my week and I map everything out. So what would happen when I would do them on Thursday is life would happen. And, I'd plan to write the newsletter on Wednesday, and, something happened, something else I wanted to get done popped up, decided to go and have a one-on-one with someone or a client meeting or whatever it is. And so then on Thursday morning, I might have a networking meeting, and then I'd have like a little time in the afternoon and, I better write this newsletter out quick, right? So having all of this be scheduled and on my calendar on Monday has been really, I was a little skeptical that it would work out for me. It's been really a great thing for me because it sets my tone for the entire week. Like, I have a theme in my business for the week, and it's whatever the topic for today is going to be for the Facebook Live. All right, I'm looking at my notes here. We talked about boundaries. Does anybody have any questions? Talked about boundaries. We talked about the freebie, how to choose priorities when everything is important. And if you don't know, I revamped my website in February. I guess it's March now, so in February. So, if you head over there, you'll also see the new vamped website. Okay, so here's where I'm going to tease what I'm going to be talking about next week. And that is, we're going to be talking about ideal clients. Because along the theme of I'm doing lots of stuff, but I don't feel like the money's coming in, you can be doing all of what look like the right things. You can be really busy and you can be checking things off your to-do list. However, if you're not super clear on who your ideal client is and what they need and how you serve them the best, it might not matter. Okay, so we're going to talk about ideal clients next week. And if you're in the Facebook group, then you're going to get a little bonus exercise to really walk yourself through the meat of this. And it's really one of the best exercises that I've seen anybody do with this. And it's a variation of something my friend Suzanne Moore did in with her group. She has the Mesmerize process, and she's a business coach, and it's just a really great way to look at it. And I just to talk a little bit about it, one of the things that we won't be doing, we'll touch on it briefly, what we won't be doing is we're not going to be looking at the demographics. We're not going to look at, what is the age, what is their household income, how many pets do they have. Those things you can keep in the back of your mind, but we're really going to be more interested in some of the other things that they have going on, that it probably doesn't matter, excuse me, it probably doesn't matter how old they are. Age is going to be, we'll talk about it next week, or I'm going to be here for another 10 minutes, giving you a very large preview. So let's see, I have some alerts that I just want to make sure that somebody's not commenting somewhere else and I'm not seeing it. So here, and one of the things I can do with this program is I can show you Mary's comment, and Mary says she can't send out the newsletter if she doesn't have the content right. So again, this is Mary recognizing that she is responsible to her clients, but not for them. They need to get her the information that they say they're going to get her. I do not see any other comments on this. So if you do have any questions later, please let me know. I would love to know what you find yourself spending the most time in. Is it the urgent or the important? I mean, I can guess. And if you want to be super brave, and over in the Facebook group, and I'll share that here, over in the Facebook group, share how it pops up for you. The Facebook group is a safe place to share. Share how the urgent and the important, how you navigate them, or how you're maybe feeling a little stymied or stuck with it right now. And I'll be happy to chat with you about that over in the Facebook group. So again, the Facebook group is Productivity for Women Entrepreneurs. I will see you next week, where we're going to extend this conversation and talk about ideal clients. All right. So until next week, much love. Have a great day.